In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Today we will talk about the directional earth fault. First we will open the software. Here we have the earth fault 4 steps protection over current block, and this is the residual over current with 4 steps ion grader 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 steps protection, or that's what you have inside it. The topic here is very simple. You connect your 3-phase current and 3-phase voltage. Here, if you are using 3-phase polarizing current, but of course usually we work with polarizing voltage, so it's not necessary. Therefore you need to put a group of, because it comes as a 3-phase group, so you must connect it to a signal called group of, which comes from the fixed signal block. Of course, since this is directional and depends on voltage, it obviously requires the block from the VT fuse failure, the block of external impedance from the impedance block. There is also a block on the trip and a block on the start. We do not use all these things. In the end, there is a CB position and a close command. There is also a block on the trip and a block on the start, and we do not use them. What matters to me from the virtual inputs on the function is the voltage and the current, and I connect to the polarizing current group off. Here outside, there is a very important part. The earth fault itself here consists of 4 steps for protection, which are in 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are their start signals, and this is the start general, and these are their trip signals, and this is the trip general. Is that clear? Great. And there are 2 more things called start forward and start reverse. If I go back here to the manual, it will tell me. Directional comparison steps are start forward and start reverse. Built-in supervision checks directionality. Set in EF4 PTOG. Each has an equation. Z signal is for earth fault teleprotection. They are placed in the EF4 PTOG, which is our function A. Each of them has a rate to be achieved, whether it's start forward, start A, or start reverse. I will detail in the following that this technique will be used to update the update used at the control level, used at the control level, used at the control level, used at the control level. This implies the critical importance of initiating both the start forward and start reverse processes, as these 2 specific signals are the primary ones that will be utilized in conjunction with the communication scheme. In terms of the 4 distinct elements, which represent the 4 sequential steps in determining the default direction, these are the essential components that will be employed. We will start with start forward A and start reverse. If you come here, for the start forward to be 1, this equation must be satisfied, and for the start reverse to be 1, this equation must be satisfied. What does this equation say? It states that the I operating, which is the current I node that is real at the moment of voltage occurrence, multiplied by cosine phi minus the RCA, which is the relay characteristics angle, must be greater than a setting called I integrator direction. It must be greater than the setting I-ing. And the start reverse is the same equation, but must be greater than 60% of IN greater E direction. Is that clear? This means if I want to apply this here, I have my polarizing quantity of 3N officially. I have the line for start forward and the line for start reverse. The I operation committee must be greater than in greater E direction, and in reverse you must be greater than 60% of in greater E direction. 100% of what? Okay. I will go to the settings to press on the settings and calculate the equation if I look at the settings. We press on the function. The first thing it tells you is the function's open. The first thing it tells you is the function's open. The first thing it tells you is the function's open. The first thing it tells you is the function's open. The first thing it tells you is the function's open. The first thing it tells you is the function's open. This is the U polarizing. We give it 5% from the U base. If the polarizer doesn't work, go in greater direction discussed. Set the C to 5%. Set RCA at 65%. Euro polarizing at 5%. And in greater direction at 5%. Set the in greater direction as it changes. Yeah, at 65, which is at 5%. And how much is the other one? At 5%. I don't need more than that. I'll just send the D, because it's the one that changed it. I'll go back here to my equations, assuming I have a voltage current series I0 capable of 0.2 amperes. Then I come to this equation, 0.2 times cosine phi minus the relay at 65 degrees. These 65 degrees are drawn down here, like this. Assuming I have a voltage current series I0 capable of 0.2 amperes, I apply my equation here, 0.2 cosine, phi minus phi minus. The relay characteristic angle becomes 65 degrees. These 65 degrees are drawn down here like this. So these 65 degrees, which are minus 65, or 360 minus 65, which is 295 degrees. If I had set it in the setting here as minus 65, then the minus, what is 295? 325 is impossible. 65 degrees, 295 is in the fourth quadrant. Yes, 295. Minus 360 gives you 60 degrees and 5 degrees. So it remains 295. Set the RCD in the setting and it will be drawn upwards. Is that okay? Nice. So I don't have what is drawn, and it gave minus 65, and it gave minus 65 here. It remains 0.2 times cosine 5 plus 65, where the 0.25 divided by 0.25 over 0.2. Shift cosine, I got it to play plus or minus 75.5, so at that time it's phi. It extends to 140.5, or the range works from 140.5 to 10.5. This 10.5, I drew it upwards. What is upwards? 10.5, 140, I drew it downwards, 140 to 140, which represents for me like this. From the other side, counterclockwise, 219.5. So from the start of 219.5, and I turn counterclockwise until 10.5. All of this is the forward direction. I will come to the reverse with the same equation, 0.2 in cosine 5 minus the RCA, but the RCA in reverse is drawn not from the minus serving note, it is drawn from the serving note itself. So I draw the 65 degrees, opposite to the normal RCA. I draw the 65, since it is minus, I draw it like this, exactly to my right, just as I drew this to my right. 65, I draw 65 to my right. So I always make the reference minus 3 node, so the angle for me was 115, which is its complement or supplement to 180. So I substitute here with 115, multiply 0.6 and 0.5 by 0.2, and get the shift cosine. So minus 115 equals this number. I move the 115 to the other side, and I got my range. My range is from 33 to 196. So I rotate clockwise, from 33 to 196. This is the direction of whom? The direction of the reference. Is that clear? Now, I will go here. We need to press on the application configuration, and 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 press on the application configuration, 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 configuration. I will protect one page from Freja to make the efforts, and planes easily. I will protect 65V and 65V. Let's say, for example, 65 Syrian 60 volts. We faced 65 and we faced. Of course, I made 60, 50, 50 to create a 3V node based on the setting I mentioned, which is 5%. We will still get a pickup for it, but not now. Let's first look for the angles. As for the planes, let me just add 0.5 on the executions, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. After that, I mentioned the operating for me. Ultra I operating for me is 0.2, meaning my series A note is at 0.2. I will increase this current to 0.7. For me in series A note with a capacity of 0.2, I am now adjusting the angles. If you focus with me, this equation will change the angles. So how many things are in this equation? The RS, what is this setting? I'm a greater direction than the city, but I am a greater direction than the city, but I am a greater direction than the city, but I am a greater direction than the city, but I am a greater direction than the city, but I am a greater direction than the city, but I am a greater direction than the city. So with the change of the current, the forward and reverse angles will change, meaning the angles related to the current values from the forward current. That's why I said it was found at point 2. All these calculations were done based on a 9-volt reading at point 2. If you change the point 2, everything will still be calculated according to these coordinates in the forward and in the reverse in the forward. So I must adhere to what I had calculated based on. I calculated that the operating current would be 0.2, so I set it here to 0.7. Of course, in voltage, the current must be the one that increases in voltage, meaning the fault, meaning the current is the one that increases and the voltage decreases. I must take into account that the voltage is the one that decreased. I didn't increase the phase, because when I reduced the phase, the reference voltage now became, for example, 5 volts, but at an angle of 180. Angle 180 means what? It means here, when I take my reference as minus reference voltage, I bring it back here. So all the calculations I made are correct. If I went to the phasor diagram and increased its input by 70, what did I do with the reference voltage? I increased it by how much? I made the reference voltage value 5 volts, but increased it by a half. So when I take its minus reference voltage, meaning I reversed it here and brought it to this area, what do I find? The forward and reverse have swapped places with each other. We must perform a correct simulation because the voltage is what decreases and the current is what increases in this scenario. I don't want anything else. I will inject now the same injection. All right, I have a reference here that I will fix in place. I will start moving, but who is the pilot? I will move it from what to what? From 219 to 10. So I open here again. If I keep going up to 10.5, the issue is 10.5 up to 10.5. So I start going up here with the pilot angle to 10.5. I reach 10. And then the gradual will appear. So if you want to get a correct pickup, you will show the gradual outside the gradual, and then the gradual will appear outside the gradual, and then the gradual will appear outside the gradual. You will show the gradual outside the gradual. This is not present, you will just continue until you reach how much? To 219, which we calculated here as 219.5, until you reach exactly 219, 219.5, right? Is that clear? Whose limits are these? These are the Ford limits. Now to find the reverse limits from 33 to how much? 196. So from 33.6 on the same current line, right? So you start here from 33. For example, you get 30. And you start going out from 33 to 33.618. It switches to reverse with you here. It switched to reverse with me. Of course, you shouldn't look at this part. Don't pay attention to these. They have a different story. They have calculations. I was going to make a note on these that we will use with earth fault communication schemes. I have nothing to do with the ones above. They have completely different calculations. Second, at 136.10, it comes with me up to 196.37. So I might go to 195 and keep going up to 196 by aiming 96.7. So go to 195, for example, and keep looking at Messi's cutscenes, and keep looking at Messi's cutscenes. I went outside the 0.5, of course, with a change, meaning you put this with any other pile. You put it, for example, 0.5, oh sorry, 1 ampere. So how much is the 3A note? By half, come back again to the travel. Last time you were going out after 10.5, going out of the forward, this start forward, it went up to 10 here like this and started going out. Still continuing with you, it will be empty. Continuing with you, it will be empty. Continuing with you until when? You have to go calculate it. You will be trying here how many halves? Let's calculate just one. Here, for example, try half. So you have 0.05 over half. You saw cosine gives you an angle of 84, meaning its place is 84. So once you will send it 65, and once you will send it 65 with plus, and once with minus, right? Let's send it 65 with minus. So minus 65 gives you 19 and 0.26. So if you went here and injected at 1926, it comes out with you, giving you 19, and go up, it came out with you. Thus, with the change of the word current each time, the angles of your range change, of the forward and traverse, which will change where? In the forward and the authority. That's it. This is the first part. These are signals, and at the end of the video, we will talk about how they are used with communication schemes. This is mentioned here in the manual with a nice drawing for it. Here it is. This is the drawing, this is the polarizing, this is the start forward, and this is the start reverse. The start forward must have a current value greater than the in greater direction. The start reverse must be greater than 0.6 of the in greater direction. This is the I operation, and this is the 3I node. For you, it must count from the length of the distance, that is the in greater direction. After that, it must consider the angles. This is a part. The regular drum, which is our usual trip, is nice. What is it? I will come here in my settings and go down to a set of steps, 4 steps as we said, called RS Volt 4 Protection Overcard. I come to step 1, step 2, 3, and 4. I will, for example, activate step 1 and choose the direction of its operation. As forward, I can choose the direction as I like. I don't want forward reverse. Definite type, setting 2 out of 10, whatever the number is. It's not a problem. T1 is 0. The rest of these settings are unnecessary. The second one I set to 2 out of 10. We will finish the directionality, and then there is just one trick we will mention. Okay, great. Finish the same setting itself, everything. Let's go back and see its story. The start forward and start reverse depend on the equations we did. The depth as delay trip also has also. To determine itself or not, it must be present more than 40% in the water, meaning it is in the greater direction. The first thing is that it must be present more than 40% in the water, meaning it is in the greater direction. This is number one. Number two, the angle should be in the range, either in the forward or in the reverse. The angle here is fixed. It does not depend on number two, the fault current. The angle is fixed at how much? The RCE is set at 65. You take 85 degrees to the right and 85 degrees to the left. And in the reverse, the same applies. You take 85 degrees to the right and 85 degrees to the left. Is that clear? Excellent. And 5 degrees turning, what is it? And 5 degrees turning a bit. Okay, if you take 65 degrees and add 85 to it, what does your angle become? 20 degrees, right? And if you take 85 from 65, what does your angle become? 65 plus 85 is 150 degrees. 150 degrees downward, which is how much? 360 minus 210. So you initially have 210 here, turning counterclockwise to 20. Each degree for you is a fruit. On the other hand, all of this is reverse for you. But in order for the function to work, the amount of fault current must be greater than 40% of the EN greater than direction, which we set at 5%, which is for dragability. Well, if you multiply this 5% by 4 out of 10, 40% of it is 0.02. If you multiply it subpublic, 0.4, 40% of it. A small number compared to what? Compared to your setting. Your setting is originally set at 0.2, so this is certainly achieved before you reach your step, right? So what do? I go back again, lower this and return to the application configuration. This time I focus on start 1, which I set as forward, and start 2, which I set as reverse. I come here and inject current. Regardless of the amount of current, it won't activate with me. Here it does not change with the angle, but it must be greater than 40% and greater than step 1. Is that clear? Good. I go back here. We do half and do half from 5%. Is that clear? Good. We do half from 5%. Is that clear? Good. We do half from 5%. Is that clear? Good. We do half from 5%. Is that clear? Yes, from 5%, which is the... Is that clear? The talk is good, and the foot, oh man, no problem I have in all these stories, and I come to... What? Look, sir, you now have, see the start forward, it's not coming up. The start forward is not coming up. Why? Because I'm outside 19 and a bit when we change the resistance of the numbers. But I'm with you. Above there's a start here. Start forward comes up and the generator trips forward, which is forward, and the generator up to whom? Up to 20 degrees. Once it goes outside 20 degrees, it stops. What else? If you want to go down from outside the 20 and go down from outside the 20 and enter with you and enter from outside the 20 and enter with you 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 and 10. Okay, if we're going to turn the limit, let's hand over the 2 and 5. It will all be a promise. I talk to myself. I go up in it until I reach the demo so it can enter again, enter again. Regarding the reverse, we will calculate it without a problem. The reverse has the same 65 degrees here, right? Great. You will add 85 to it. So how much do you have here? 20. 20 with the 180, how much is that? 200. So this angle is 200. Okay, and here is the 65. How much is left? The 65 here, and you will add 85, 20 and 60. So this is under 30 degrees.
30 and 30 and 60 repeated 14 times.
From 5 to 25 to 60 to 100 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 to 100. Feel 60. I see from from 60, 1,000 from 60 to 200, from 60 to 200, reverse. I'll bring down another one here and sit here. Okay, and sit here, for example, solve outside 8 representation. And then I'll go up with the 58. We envied 50. No, we envied her wrong. No, no, no. It's okay. It's okay. You and yours. How much, Azuz? Maybe we were, didn't we say this is 65? Yes, that's right. You'll get 85. How many of this 85 did you talk about? You're right. 30. You're right. 30. 30. Right, right. You're right. 30. So I'll go down here to 28, and I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. 30. So I'll go down here to 28. We need to go back to where it reaches 30 and go back to where? Up to 200 and go back to 200 and go back to 200 and then open the phone. After that, go back to where? Go back to 250. We need to ensure that we are accurately tracking our progress and movements. It is crucial to go back to the specified points, such as 30, 200, and 250, to maintain consistency. After reaching these points, we should open the phone to proceed with the next steps. It's disconnecting now with the treasure that I bring her. 57255, I will go back like this. In these corners, there is a disaster. And in these corners, there is no disaster. And in these corners, there is a 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 disaster. There must be a node pricing stream, more than 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 a node pricing stream. Now the text that I will inject here has passed through step 1 and step 2. I place them. So here sometimes I pass them. But what if you pass them and I don't pass them? Doesn't that mean 0.75, right? 0.75 means 3i node. 0 to 0.25 is passing the setting, but the state is not passing the setting, but the state is still not passing. Okay, let's inject the same condition, but in the forward state. I set the button to 0, injected 0.25, and nothing happened. Why? Because this current 3i node, which is formed, is greater than the step 1 current and the step 2 current, but not greater than 40% of IN in the greater direction. 40% means 0.4 times 0.8, which is 0.82. So you need to reach 0.82 here. As soon as you reach 0.82, then your setup will work. Here, I set it to 0.81 and it will work with you. Set it to 0.82 and it will bring you the 4. Yanan. The same applies if it's in reverse. We will just reduce it like this. And in reverse, for example, at an angle of 180 degrees. Until you also reach 0.82, I made the change again, okay? Yes, 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 we guarantee the angle and the corner. We guarantee the angle, we guarantee the angle, we guarantee the angle, we guarantee the corner, 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 we guarantee the corner. The house ratio here comes to the hub of the configuration after the transformation module 115, 5.2 from 3.3. Only 3.3 minus 65 loses, with a factor of 61.6 from minus 0.68, meaning
where 3 minus 6565 gets with a capo of 6126 and 26.68, meaning
we go down to the house and go down to the house and go down to the house and go down to the house.
What do we start with? We start with diversity.
So what did I bring? Well, I leave this note fixed, whether I was talking in start from start evers or talking about the germination of what?
It must be Arzo.
Okay, so what? Well, we've tested everything in it.
Here's a note to test.
Well, haven't we already considered it tested? So we tested on the 0.32 path. If you want to test it, reduce this again, reduce this to make it 5% and test it. Okay? What do you want to reach? To 0.2? Okay, 0.2. So reach it at 0.2. How much is this? This is 0.68, and we go up to 0.7. 6.8, and we go up to 0.7. You were testing the change, meaning stability. Stability, there is nothing called carat. It should be greater than I in the greater direction, and accordion in the equation differs, right? You can sit at an angle and calculate the change from it completely. You just create the change normally. 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 Of course, the start forward and the reverse, if you find them, you will find them directly in the airsoft communication. Naturally, I have the communication scheme from the one who does the acceleration. I have the start forward, of course, like that, from the one who sends the carrier send in. The case of the blocking scheme, which is the start reverse. That's why I needed the start forward with the acceleration, and my carrier send is sent with the reverse. So the carrier send in, the case of overreach, who is it sent with? It is also sent with the forward or with the echo. You will find that echo and forward use overreach, as we have already done with the distance, 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 as we have already done with. But this is what we want. This is what we will need. Yes, and this is the soil.
Soil is for talk.
No, that's it. This soil is normal now. How our communication soil is our carrier send, and this is the carrier receive that you used to take and bring down to the course of current reversal and weekend feed and such. The same concept as distance. No word. Does it show like this? That's it. We're done. Is this normal again? Do you know the word? Thank you for watching.